Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, and heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on a mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise like pop sockets, t-shirts, hoodies, and even some throw pillows, tote bags, and a lot more. Go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, including great books by Mian Mohsen Zia and more, go to Amazon.com/Mian Mohsen Zia. in order today. We're here with a terrific gentleman from Northern Florida who is the best-selling author of 25 plus year, so many years, 25 plus books in mental health, personal growth, and he also is published in 70 plus countries. And yet that is a lot to talk about. He is the pioneering dean of self-talk, and he's also the first behavioral researcher to focus on self-talk, and also produced the first audio program back in 1981. He's a founder of Self-Talk Institute and Life Coach Institute. And of course, he's also got the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Also the power of neuroplasticity, and also 365 days of positive self-talk. And of course, he's also got a brand new app we're going to talk about as well, too. And speaking of apps, we've got live in our program from the Plus Studios in beautiful Northern Florida, the Dean of Self-Talk, and he's just a complete master of it. And I do have a confession. I talk to myself all the time, and that's a good thing. So ladies and gentlemen, live and from the Plus Studios, Dr. Shad Helmstetter. Dr. Shad, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be with you.
Well, it's great to be with you too. And the whole thing about self-talk, which has been going on for so many years, and you've been a best-selling author of 25 plus books in mental health, personal growth, and your works are published in over 70 plus countries, which is totally amazing. And you're also the pioneering dean of self-talk and first behavioral researcher to focus on self-talk, and also produced the first audio program in 81. You're also founder of Self-Talk Institute and Life Coach Institute, and a couple of books as well. And before getting to all that, Dr. Helmstetter, tell us how I first got started.
Well, I actually started my first career as a foreign language interpreter for the United States government.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I was a Spanish English interpreter in Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And because of that time learning foreign languages and being an interpreter, I often thought about how we think in a language, and we think in the words of that language. And as I got more interested in the field of personal growth, I began to recognize that a lot of people thought maybe they were thinking in English, but they were thinking in a negative form of English. And I recognized that we learned our first language by hearing it played in the background of our lives when we were growing up. And if we got the right words, we got the right messages, we got the right programs, it seemed to me that like learning a foreign language, it might be possible to change the programs we got that were the wrong ones. And so that's where it started. And fortunately, my hypothesis proved to be correct in the field of neuroscience, showed that it was true. So we all get programmed. We grow up learning the language of success or the language of failure, or kind of a neutral language. And then that's our reality. And we go through life thinking that way. And the way we think determines how we feel. And that determines what we do. So our self-talk ends up being very important.
Mm-hmm. It's also tied to actions as well, too. And I've heard it all the time that, how you think, it's how you act and how you say, and actions are also tied to as well, which is another key.
Yes. And the problem is that most of the messages we got when we were growing up, if you grew up in a reasonably positive household, you were told no, or what you cannot do, or what won't work. Something like 148,000 times.
Wow.
So that's a lot of negatives. And it's been estimated, and I believe this is correct, it's been estimated that the average individual, the programs we have now, once we're growing up, the average individual, they're 77% of their programs are either negative or false or counterproductive or work against them. So that would be like your autopilot, or the autopilot on an airplane that's programmed to fly in a certain direction. And if 77% of our programs are negative or are sending us in the wrong direction, that's where we're going to fly. So that's in a nutshell why we tend to have, why things are more difficult than they need to be. If our programs are working against us, then we're going to go the wrong direction.
Hmm. And also, I thought about it too. That do you think the negativity has increased with social media, or do you think it has a negativity gone down, or it stayed the same?
I think it's increased. Yeah. And not only has it increased, but people's reaction to negativity has increased. So what's happening is people are on their iPhones or on their computers, on their laptops, or they're checking to see what every comment they make is, what the vote is, whether it's being whether the vote is up or the vote is down. And unfortunately, if we already have negative programs that are stored in our subconscious mind, they're actually wired into our brain. If we already have negative programs, we tend to be attracted to messages we get that are most like the programs we already have. So if we tend to be a little bit down or negative or worried or anxious or concerned in the first place, and then we get on social media and maybe we don't get the votes we want, then that attacks our self-esteem and our self-image. And what we're doing is basically getting more and more negative messages that work against us instead of wiring our brain with positive messages that would work for us.
Hmm. And of course, I have to say that we have to maybe cut down the cat pictures or more put up like smiling cat pictures, better tasting food, or whatever it is. Maybe cut down the selfies or something.
Well, actually, probably cat and puppy pictures are a good thing because they're giving us a few positives amongst all those negatives.
Hmm. And I'll have to put more cat pictures up there as well too. And for those who are on Facebook, put up more cat pictures, put up more dog pictures, more smiling animal pictures, because Dr. Shad said so as well too. So, and what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your life? So, what was that moment that simply said to you that this is what's going on? I'm going to study it. And what was that light bulb moment that simply said, "This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life"?
That moment was when I was first studying self-talk. And because I'd been a linguist, I had already come to the conclusion that I should listen to positive self-talk and learn it just like we learned a language. So I recorded positive self-talk and I listened to it every morning. And the reason I did that is because I decided to use myself as a test. I wanted to lose weight. I'd been on a lot of diets. I had a real problem with weight, and I was good at dieting. So I would gain the weight, and then I would lose the weight, and then of course it would always come back, and it would bring its friends, and so I would nothing I tried was working. So I thought, well, I'm going to try self-talk because I was studying self-talk. So I began to listen to self-talk about health, about nutrition, about how I felt, my self-esteem, about. It wasn't so much about food and dieting. It was more about how I saw life and how I took responsibility for myself and so on. At any rate, I began to listen to that self-talk every morning while I was shaving and getting ready in the morning. And what happened was, and it was a complete surprise to me, in the next 10 and a half weeks, I lost 58 pounds while I was shaving. And so, or as a result of listening to self-talk while I was shaving. So that was the first thing that convinced me. And then immediately after that, my wife, who had been listening at the other end of the same mirror every morning, getting ready while I was shaving, she was putting on her makeup, and she lost 25 pounds eavesdropping on my cassettes. Wow. And I realized there's something to this. And so I studied in depth to find out why and how that works.
That's interesting. And what were the phrases that you used like during the time you were shaving and everything else and trying to diet? What were some of the first phrases you were using for self-talk?
They were the opposite of what people would say if they look in the mirror and think they're ugly or think they look bad. So I would never say I'm fat. I would never say, oh, I look terrible. I would never say, everything I eat goes right to my waist. I turned those around. I wrote them out. So I had them written out very carefully, but there were things like, I eat food that is healthy and nutritious, and I enjoy it. I get the exercise I need. I look forward to exercising each day. So I was taking old things that I really didn't like too much. I wasn't very fond of exercising because I was overweight at the time. And I just turned those around. And it sounded at first like I was kidding myself. But actually, I really wasn't. I was just setting the record straight. All this, it's like if you said for years, I can't remember names. And because we all have people we know do that. I can't remember names. I have the world's worst memory, and so on. Then you go to a party or something and you meet somebody and you say, I'm going to remember this person's name. And then 7 seconds later, you forgot the name and you're going through the alphabet trying to remember what the name is, and the name is gone. And your subconscious mind says, I did what you told me to do. You've been telling me for 37 years you can't remember names. You got it. Done deal. So when you start practicing positive self-talk, one of the things you can do is you can begin by turning around the old negative. And when you do that, like, I've got a great memory. You meet somebody and you think, I've got a great memory. I like people. I'm interested in them. I can remember people. I can remember people's names. At first, you think you're lying to yourself, but you're not. You're just setting the record straight. And it takes about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, for the brain to actually physically begin to rewire itself. So if you practice positive self-talk, you do have to stay with it for long enough for the new wiring to get in place. And the key to, we've learned this from the field of neuroscience, the key to rewiring the brain is repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. The key to success actually is repetition. So if you want to practice self-talk, and I can give your listeners some ways to do that, but if you want to practice self-talk, plan to do it for enough time for your brain to begin to rewire itself. By the way, it's designed to do that. It's called neuroplasticity. That's the brain's ability to rewire itself. And we used to think that the brain stopped changing and growing when we were very young, but that was before we could look into the brain and watch it work. Now, because of computer imaging technology, we can watch what happens when we think, and we can watch the brain rewire itself. And we've learned that your brain will rewire itself throughout your entire lifetime. So you just have to give it the right input. If you don't change your self-talk, you will continue to give your brain the same old programs over and over and over again. So they'll just get stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm. And did you say the rewiring process takes 3 to 4 weeks?
Before the rewiring really begins to take hold and become permanent, yes.
It does. Okay. All right. I'm taking this in. I'm learning a lot, and we'll be talking more about the books, what to say when you talk to yourself, the power of neuroplasticity, 365 days of positive talk, and also the first audio books as well too. We'll talk more about that with Dr. Shad Helmstetter. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to check out our merchandise on Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show podcast. Get some throw pillows, t-shirts, hoodies, long shirts, and also some coming soon to phone cases, pop sockets, and a lot more. And don't forget to check out me and Motion Zia's great books, including Missing and more of his merchandise at Amazon.com/me and Motion Zia. Order it today. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com/support. Also support us on Anchor FM and PayPal. Make sure you do it today. We're here with Dr. Shad Helmstetter, the founder of Self-Talk, also best-selling author of 25 plus books in mental health, personal growth, and also has his work published in over 70 plus countries. Behavior researcher to focus on self-talk and produce the first audio program as well, too. Founder of Self-Talk Institute and the Life Coach Institute. And before we talk about your books, you've been the founder of Self-Talk for quite some time and Life Coach. And maybe just tell us a bit about that.
In 1985, after doing a lot of research in the area of self-talk, I founded the Self-Talk Institute. And so we could do more studies, reach more people. So the Institute has been around now for, I guess, over 35 years. And there are over 300 self-talk trainers around the world, actually, in the United States and in many foreign countries. And the self-talk trainers teach self-talk to groups and organizations and schools. And so they're helping get the message out that anyone can change their self-talk. Anyone can rewire their brain.
Mm-hmm. You also been a life coach for quite some time. The Life Coach Institute, that's also an offshoot of the Self-Talk Institute. Tell us more about that as well.
The Life Coach Institute has been around for a long time, over 20 years. And I had started life coaching many years before that, before there was even a name Life Coach. I was working with people and with organizations and groups and a lot of individuals. And I found that if you could talk to someone once a week, excuse me, once a week, and help them set the right goals that they wanted to set, and help them overcome or help them identify the obstacles to those goals, and then help them identify the action steps they should take, you'd be doing that person a great service. And I found that as a good life coach, you can do that not by giving advice, but by asking good questions, and then letting the individual decide what they want to do, where they want to go, and how they want to do it. And then you can help motivate them to do that. But it's all up to the individual. So we have many life coaches also all over the world, and they don't give advice. They ask really good questions.
Good questions as in?
What would you like to do about that?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Somebody might say, should we buy that house now or should we wait? What would you like to do?
Okay.
And if you're willing to listen and stay with someone long enough, they'll end up coming up with the answers that they really want. They'll come up with the goals that they want to achieve and the right steps that they're willing to take to achieve those goals. Then in addition to that, we put all of our coaches put their clients on a regimen of listening to self-talk. So now you have the coach, you've got the client talking together once a week, you've got a goal plan that they work together on. And then during the week, each day, every morning probably, or while they're way to work, that focuses on the specific goals they want to work on. So it's a great combination.
It sounds like a great combination. And self-talk has been used to help lose weight and also help change your thinking, also help with attitude, and also like with health and everything else. And what are the things that self-talk can be used for? Like say with money, learning, or what else can it be used for?
A lot of people use it for income, career, income. Yeah. A lot of people use self-talk for health and fitness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And many people use self-talk for, I think the foundation might be self-esteem. Try to see themselves in a better way so that they can build confidence, so that they can actually achieve the things they want to achieve. If you look at any area of life that's important, relationships, job and career, family, education, if you look at any important area of life, you'll find that you have attitudes and beliefs about that. And some of them are probably good and some of them are probably not. The kind of attitude that says, I'd love to go back to school, but I don't think I could. Or I'd love to get organized, but I'm just the most disorganized person, and so on. What happens is we have things that we want to achieve, but our own self-talk, our own programs are often wired against us. And in the brain, the strongest program always wins. That's why New Year's resolutions almost never work, because you don't have any strong programs about that resolution. Meanwhile, you've got 365 days of programs that are probably telling you that you couldn't get organized, or that you couldn't get places on time, or that you couldn't earn more income. So self-talk is foundational and it's universal. And it's really only recently, in the past few decades, that we've begun to recognize that we're actually our number one programmer. Mm-hmm. But we were trained to program ourselves wrong because our parents were programmed, so they gave us those messages. They told us whatever they told us. The people around us did. So many parents, without thinking about it, have said, "You'll never amount to anything," or "Who do you think you are? You'll never be president," or those kinds of things. At the first time that the child hears them may not make much difference, but remember, the brain works on repetition, and so every time that message or one like it is repeated, that program is getting wired in, and it's getting wired in stronger and stronger and stronger, and so that's who we become. There's an interesting thing about that they found, again, in the field of neuroscience just recently. I just think this is amazing. We used to think that positive thinking, or many people thought that positive thinking wasn't really that big a thing because thoughts didn't even amount to anything. They had no substance and they didn't really go anywhere. That was before we had computer imaging technology that let us look into the brain. What happened when we could look into the brain, they discovered that not only do thoughts go somewhere, but they actually wire different parts of the brain differently. I'll give you an example. People who think in the positive, most of the time, people who think in the positive actually grow more neural networks in the left prefrontal cortex of their brain. So that would be, right behind there.
Interesting.
So part of the brain gets stronger and stronger. Actually increases its in the number of neural networks in that part of the brain. Well, that's people who think in the positive. That happens to be the part of the brain that helps us search for solutions and find alternatives and take action and get things done. So you might even say that that's the success center of the brain. So the opposite of that is people who think in the negative. So negative thinkers, people who think in the negative most of the time, they actually are growing more neural networks in the right prefrontal cortex of our brain. And so that's right there. And that happens to be the part of the brain that causes you to stop or run and hide or flee and not take action and not get things done. So you might say that that's the part of the brain that's where that's the defeat part of the brain, or the failure part of the brain. If you think about that, that suddenly places an incredible responsibility on each of us to make sure that we get more wiring over here, more networks wired in over here, so that we live our lives that way, as opposed to on the negative side. Fortunately, we can do that. Fortunately, we can change it. But neuroscience has taught us, has made it very clear why successful people succeed and why many other people struggle and fail.
Wow. That is fascinating. I learned a lot. I never knew about, there's left brains, right brains. I never knew that this is success. And I never knew this is failure. And I remember studying about brains. I think, what was it? The left side is, what was it? Technical and the right side is creative, or it's like, is it the other way around? It's somewhere along those lines. I read about left brain does this, right brain does that. But I love how you put in perspective. I mean, that's fascinating.
So what that says is, as soon as someone realizes that, and they realize that you can say, okay, I've been living my life based on the programs that I got growing up. And if those programs are working against me, maybe I should change them. So it's really not some kind of, I don't want to put any self-help concept down, but it's really not a self-help concept. It's much more a recognition of the natural process of how the brain works. And we're just learning that, or we're now aware of that, so we can do something about it. So for me, one of the most exciting things has been that anybody can change their programs. You can't just snap your fingers and wish they were changed, because there's no repetition there. So the brain isn't going to rewire itself. What the brain is listening for, it's listening for things that will help you do better. And if you say something just once, your brain thinks, nah, that must not be important. I only heard it once. But if it hears it again and again and again, it says, oh, that's one of those. I better wire that in. I'll make that permanent. And so that's in sort of a simplistic way, that's how the brain decides what it should wire in and what it shouldn't wire in. So that immediately makes us think of things like, what are my friends like? Are they actually, am I hanging around with people who are uplifting and positive and going for it? Or am I hanging around with people who are feeling sorry for themselves or are telling themselves they can't do it? I'm not criticizing any of those people. They just got programmed. And they may not even know it. But it is a good idea to think, who do I spend my time with? What kind of books do I read? What do I read on the internet, in social media, and what do I not follow on social media? Things like that. So we're learning some things that are very practical. They make total sense. Even if it's really complicated in the brain, it's not really complicated for us once we decide, this makes sense. I think I'm going to do something about this.
Wow. That is amazing. I'm learning a lot from you, Doctor. I'll tell you that. I mean, I have to start doing that myself, just saying positive things. And of course, speaking of books, we'll talk more about what to say when you talk to yourself, the power of neuroplasticity, 365 days of positive self. We'll take a quick time out. Remind everybody, you listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia of Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with the founder of Self Help, Dr. Shad Helmstetter, after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshazia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device, subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with Dr. Shad Helmstetter, the author of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, The Power of Neuroplasticity, and 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk on The Mike Wagner Show. And let's talk about some of your books as well, too. And you're a best-selling author. You've had 25 plus books, and also it's being published in over 70 countries, which is amazing. And maybe you can just talk about some of your early books, especially your first one. What got you inspired to write your first book?
I wrote the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, after I had started studying self-talk and how it worked in the brain. And it started to get very clear to me. And as I said earlier, because I had been a language interpreter, I understood that it made perfect sense that if we learn our first language by hearing it in the background, we don't go to school to learn our first language. We just learn it through repetition. We hear it over and over and over, and then we practice it. I began to recognize that we could do the same thing and learn a new language, even if we're still speaking the language that, in this case, English language. What if we changed our vocabulary? What if we looked at it like a new language, changed our vocabulary, and began using the words and phrases that would help us get ahead instead of hold us back? And the more I studied that, the more we researched that and looked into it, the more it became clear to me that there was an answer here, that we could look at this like learning a language. And so I wrote a book about that. And interestingly, to me, that book is as popular today as it was when I first wrote it. It's I recently I received in the mail a box of books, and it was 6 books, and they were in Russian from Russia. I received another just a short time before that, a box of books. Didn't know where they were from, but they were from China.
Wow.
And so I used to think, I wish we could get this information to other countries, or maybe freedom isn't as popular. And apparently this subject is getting popular there. So that's a good thing. Imagine people thinking for themselves and realizing that they get to determine their own programs instead of someone else doing it for them. Mm-hmm. So I be political, but it sure makes sense that we are the greatest limitation to our individual freedom is not a government. It's right up here. It's what we believe about ourselves. Yeah.
That is fascinating. And with the books you talked about in Russia and China, that they're not being, allowed in, distributed and everything. Now, are these available on ebooks and audiobooks so they can have access, or anybody else?
Yes.
Good.
So they're now on audiobooks and they're in ebooks. Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. And also, too, you also have The Power of Neuroplasticity and also 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk. And I love the subject about neuroplasticity. And I think you covered pretty much the whole thing about it. And if there's something you want to add, that's fine. If there's some other books you want to highlight as well, too, feel free to talk about it.
I would say that if you want to practice self-talk, my favorite thing is to recommend that people listen to it. And I've been writing self-talk programs for many, many years. And so there's a website now. In fact, there's an app, a brand new app that people can download. The app is free and it's a subscription service. You can listen free to self-talk for 30 days, and you can listen to self-talk on many, many, many different subjects. So if there's some area that you want to work on, even if you just listen for those 30 days that it's completely free, you'll begin to understand how to reframe your self-talk, how to rephrase it, and how to practice it so that it works for you.
And what is the name of the app, and where can we find it? You can find it on Google, Apple, and if I were to go to a Google Play Store, or for some people who go to Apple, what app do we look for? What can we type in so we can get your self-talk app?
Go to selftalkplus.com.
Self-talk
Plus.
Okay, I'm gonna get that in right now. So I'm following on here, as you could tell too. So we'll go to selftalkplus.com. So you can go to pretty much any of the search engines or whatever it is, or go to any of the apps out there. It's Self-Talk Plus, which I am doing so right now, and I can type this in. I will type this in. I will get this through. And there's many of these affirmations as well too, and they're all available. And also, there's one thing I forgot to mention, that you also pioneered the audio program back in '81, and that's just as helpful as well.
Yes, yeah, it was. I'm certain that if I had never worked in foreign languages, I may never have thought of the idea that we're just speaking a language, and we're either speaking the language of success, or we're speaking the language of failure. So very early on, I began recording what ended up being positive self-talk.
Okay. All right. And that's very good as well too. And where can we find all your books? Where can we find the app? And if there's any audio programs, where can we find those? And where can we find all your works? And most importantly, where can we find you on the web?
Well, you can find me on the web at Self-Talk Plus. Or you can go to my name, shadhelmstetter.com. And then you can go to any place you go to read or listen to books, like Amazon, and you'll find them there.
That is so amazing. I'm going to do that, and we encourage everybody to do that. We're here with Dr. Shad Helmstetter here on the Mike Wagner Show about he's a best-selling author of 25 plus books in mental health, personal growth, and also in self-help talk, and published in over 70 countries. Just a few more things. Dr. Shad, you've been absolutely amazing. What can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond?
Right now, I'm working on a book. My newest book is going to be about having purpose, finding meaning. Having purpose, finding meaning. That's interesting. Yes, because a lot of people, especially I think because of things happening this past year and so on, a lot of people are kind of searching, finding, trying to figure out who they are and where they are. And so I'm writing about that. And I'm also writing a book on recovery. Recovery, as in anything specific, or is it just in general? If it's in general, what are some of the subjects that are going to be touched upon that people need to hear? Addiction. Okay. Alcohol, like that. Yes, because if you think about it, people who are in recovery are really trying to find the very best part of themselves, and yet they have programs that tell them that they can't do it, or they're not good enough, and so they really struggle with this, and when people who are working on recovery begin to realize that those old messages, those old beliefs they had about themselves may have been entirely wrong. They just got wired in. And what if they can change that wiring and see themselves in a different way? That's a big boost to recovery. So I'm writing a book about that. And when can we expect those to come out? As soon as I have them written. Well, let's just give everybody a guess. Be positive about it. So yeah, the book on having meaning, finding purpose, will be out hopefully this fall, and then next year the book on recovery should be following that. And we're certainly looking forward to that, Dr. Helmstetter. And just a couple more things. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career? My father. Okay. That's a good one. And okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. He told me to smile, and he would say, "Why are you down in the mouth? Why don't you smile?" I didn't realize at the time that that this was an early influence that was telling me, what are you thinking? Why are you down? Come on, let's go. Get up, be positive. So yeah, he was a great influence.
Amazing, it sounds like. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
When you were an infant, you were in, let's say you were in the newborn nursery, the infant nursery at the hospital. And if we had visited you then, we would have seen you in this little bassinet, in your little swaddling clothes. And if you were awake, we could actually see your eyes awake and open and searching for that incredible opportunity and promise that you were born with. And nobody's born to fail. We're all clearly designed to succeed. And that's the whole point of how we're constructed. And yet we grow up with all those programs, a lot of them negative, and we lose sight of the fact, if anyone ever told us, that we were born with unlimited potential and that we were born with unlimited promise, and that never goes away. The most exciting thing to me is that it doesn't make any difference what's happened in your life, where you've been, what you've gone through. I feel compassion for that, but your brain doesn't care where you've been. Other than what it can learn from it, your brain only cares about where you want to go next. And if you recognize that you never lost your promise, you still have it, and you never lost your potential, you still have that, and that it may have gotten covered over by programs, but you can get rid of those. You can find that potential again. You can find that promise. And tomorrow is a wonderful thing.
And certainly indeed. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. I mean, you just amazing, Dr. Helmstetter. Once again, Dr. Shad Helmstetter of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, and more on the Mike Wagner Show, and also the of the app selftalkplus.com. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And just a couple more things. Tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase your books and check out your works, and also check out your app?
I'd say the best thing to do is go to Self Talk Plus, and that will lead you everywhere.
That is amazing. Once again, Dr. Shad Helmstetter, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely terrific. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch. And from all of us here on the Mike Wagner Show, including Dr. Shad Helmstetter, stay positive.
Hey, everybody. My name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.